Don't forget the weed.
There's also the weed.
Or the ecstasy.
The acid. How did you kind of get into this creative groove where you were just, you know, living in Manchester, not really making music, 2.5 years later, Nebworth. What was that period like for you?
Well, living in Manchester, you're living, yeah. What are you fucking booing for? You all want to be us. You all want to be us. Living in Manchester, we were surrounded by some of the bona fide greatest bands that have ever come out of England. So you couldn't help but be inspired to make music. And the whole kind of thing, the whole being a musician happened by chance. You know, I wasn't born with a gift. I don't think. I think I kind of learnt it because I had fuck all better to do. You know. But I think Oasis could only have come from Manchester. I know we couldn't have come from anywhere else.
What is it about Manchester in the water, in the blood there that kind of defined what you write about?
It rains a lot, so you're pretty much indoors a lot. So when you're indoors, you're doing 3 things: you're watching football, you're taking drugs, and you're making music. So I think if you didn't have a girlfriend, then that was not, you know, there's no sexual activity back then. Late bloomer. No, women, they're great. Clearly, they're amazing. But you know, playing the guitar for me was, I don't know, it was something that when I played the first note that I ever played, a light bulb came on, and it was something that I persevered with and practiced. And again, listening to all those great records from all those great bands like the Smiths and the Stone Roses, the Joy Division, and New Order. And you know, you're in the middle of maybe the greatest musical city in England, you know, and arguably in the world. And you know, my heroes, they weren't politicians, and they weren't. Some of them were footballers. They were all musicians, and they were all Mancunians, you know.
And you know, recently we've had this terrible moment in Manchester, the Manchester Arena attack. In the wake of that, you're all singing it, "Don't Look Back in Anger." It's become this incredibly unifying, kind of healing song for the people of Manchester, for the people beyond that. What's it been like seeing that have that effect on Manchester?
Well, I got to say, I was sat at home watching the minute silence on the news when the crowd spontaneously broke into "Don't Look Back in Anger," and I was, for the first time in my life, I was fucking speechless. I didn't know what to say. And the way that the people just spontaneously rallied round that song from a spark of nothing, or from a spark of real tragedy and sadness, I honestly was taken aback by it. And I even now, like weeks after the event, I still don't know what to say about it. I mean, I know what to say about the event. I just shouldn't say it here. But I know what I feel about the event. But the fact that people spontaneously rallied around that song was quite incredible. It was an incredible thing. And with the first time I think I've ever felt humbled in my life.
Can you give a couple of a cappella lines?
They can sing it. Well, you can do it. You can do it. You do it better than me.
Can you count him off? I'm sure you can do it.
What key do you want it in? Let's see. I'm so sorry, could wait.
She knows it's too late and still walking on by. So sighs away. Look back in anger. I heard you say.
A wonderful song.
That's beautiful.
Well, I still actually don't even know what the fucking song's about. To be honest.
What did you, when you sat down to write it, was it just a bunch of kind of feverish gibberish?
I was in Paris. I was fucking pissed. I was in Paris, and I remember it was a rainy, we'd been out after one of the gigs, and I'd had the chords and all that, and I don't know, I mean, some of my songs I can vividly remember where I was and what I was trying to say, if indeed I was trying to say anything. But that one, it's funny, now what's happened with it, I have no idea where it came from. So it comes from fucking up there somewhere, and it came from somewhere else, and it was given to me, and you know, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Is it like a sort of divine force for you? Like,
I think so. I mean, I'm in the Keith Richards school of songwriting, whereas I don't really think that I'm particularly very fucking special at what I do. I just catch them falling out of the air, and there they are, and I make them.
Come on,
rhyme.
as they could say, is that a bit disingenuous? There must be something you get that drives you, like creatively.
Some songs that you work at, and but the great ones like that one and Champagne, all of the ones that have now gone down 3 or 4 generations, they don't belong to me. They came from somewhere else. I don't know who Sally is. Who the fucking hell's Sally? I don't even know anybody called Sally. And the funny thing is though, listen to this, about a year ago I was doing a gig with Richard Ashcroft up in Scotland and somewhere, and I always thought that it was Liam that came up with the line Sally, and he said to me, actually it was me that said the line Sally. He said, because remember, it was me and Liam were listening to it at the sound check, and now Richard Ashcroft is claiming he came up with the line Sally. Well, unfortunately, I've got the swimming pool and the fucking massive telly to prove it, so fuck them all, guys.
And there's a bit in the movie which you'll see where you are all bombed on crystal meth in Los Angeles. And
it's not a great drug.
It's not your finest hour.
It's not a great drug.
You look all over the place. And actually, you get so pissed off with Liam, with everyone, that you actually leave the band and, spoiler alert, come back later. But you sort of swan off to San Francisco and you write Talk Tonight as a result of that swanning off. And your sound guy, Mark Coyle, in the film says that, and it's this really sort of deep and sad and lonely song. And he says, Noel needs these songs to get these deep emotions out of himself. And once he's written a song, he's often calling you a cunt again. Is he true there? Is that right? Is it somewhere you go to kind of vent?
I have to. Well, no, I don't think I've ever written a song where I vent anger at anything. But I agree with Coyley. I'm not a very overly emotional person, and I'm not an overly romantic person, which my wife will testify to wherever she's there. In fact, she'll testify to it. She's there. Indeed. And I seem to have a way of putting the universal truths of whatever emotions are: sadness, love, hope, glory, joy, sadness, all, and there is universal truths in them all. I seem to have a way of saying it very simply. Anyone can do what I do. Anyone can do what I do.
There you go. And there's a bit as well at the end of the film where it's the helicopters are flying over Nebworth and it's this huge kind of rock and roll event, and there's a voiceover from you and you're sort of saying how this was the last gig of the sort of before the internet arrived and before the age of celebrity arrived.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that, and there's a sort of note of kind of annoyance in your voice actually that no one's kind of carried that baton on it. Has musical culture sort of become less exciting since then?
Well, culture's become less exciting. Culture's become less exciting.
In what way?
This fucking festival, okay, is the greatest gathering of people on the fucking planet. Right? And if they fucking could, they would fucking have you download this, but they can't. They can't. Which is why all the fucking great bands, it doesn't matter about selling records anymore. It's you fucking get your ass on stage, and if you can fucking touch people, that's all that matters now. That's all that matters. Too many. I think for me, music, like life in general, is a very famous comedian said, I've seen him recently, and he said, life used to be about what was on your fucking mind, right? Now it's about what's on your phone, right? And that to me is the end. Because if life's not about what's on your fucking mind, because it's shit what's on your phone. Who cares?
But is music kind of getting worse in this environment?
No. Music, there's tons of great music. There's loads of great music. It's more difficult to find now because the people that run the major record labels will promote things that make more money as opposed to things that fucking touch people. That's it.
And also, it seems like people are, musicians are much more, and rock stars, are much more well-behaved now. There's a bit in the movie where you're on a cross-channel ferry and you go boozing in a casino and there's a brawl with some West Ham fans. Half the band...
Up the hammers.
Right. Half the band end up in like a jail on the boat and you're sent back to England. Why don't those stories happen anymore with rock bands?
I think we were signed by the greatest record label that ever was, and Alan McGee didn't give a fuck one way or the other. He did not fucking give a fuck. We gave less of a fuck than him, and
minus fucks were given.
Minus fucks were given, and I think bands like Oasis and Primal Scream and The Verve and all that, we might have ruined it, because if your share price depends on us, well, you can fuck off.
You're just going to be early grave.
I know, Harry Styles, he ain't going to be fucking found snorting coke off a prostitute. None of that shit. So we might have ruined it for the next generation, but fuck them is what I say, you know what I mean? If you weren't there, well, you've always got the film.
Assuming that not all of your memories have been obliterated by the aforementioned substances and so on, we are obviously at the greatest music festival on the planet.
The only music festival on the planet. All the other festivals, they're just big gigs in fields. This is the only festival.
What are some of your strongest memories of being at Glastonbury, being on stage, bimbling around off your nut?
Bimbling? How does one bimble?
Just bimbling, it's like...
I think Oasis only ever did one great gig here, which was the first time we played, which was on a Sunday afternoon, which when I got the call to do it, I was convinced we played the previous Saturday afternoon, because we've been here since Thursday. And but my favourite memories of Glastonbury are we're still producing them. Me and my missus, we come every single year, and I fucking love it when it's muddy. I love it. I fucking love it. I love it. Because if this festival had the weather, it'd fucking turn into Coachella, right? That's bollocks, right? The reason they won't come here is it fucking rains all the time, which I love it.
To be fair, Noel, you do have a 4x4 driving around. I mean,
That's the first time I've ever got a Jeep anywhere. I come in and I get out amongst it. I fucking love it. I love it.
And we're going to have to finish up, and we're going to screen Supersonic, this incredible documentary. But I just want to ask, what is next for you, Noel? What's coming up on the rails?
What's coming up next?
Well, either
this weekend.
This weekend, perhaps. There is a certain someone else in the band in town. I did drop you in it a little bit there, I have to admit.
No comment, he said, as Twitter went into meltdown. No fucking comment. Enjoy the film. You are the fucking best. Thank you very much.